Today we're going to talk about variables and expressions, and we're going to talk about three objectives in this first section here. So the objectives are that you guys are going to be able to translate algebraic symbols into verbal expressions, translate situations that are given in words into algebraic expressions, and evaluate algebraic expressions for different values of the variable. Now, some vocabulary, which is very important for us to talk about. Let's talk about what a variable is. A variable is a letter or a symbol used to represent a value that can change. A lot of times you see common variables such as X is the most common. We see things like Y, A, B, any letter or symbol that is going to represent some sort of numerical value that changes. Okay, a constant is a value that doesn't change. The best way to explain a constant is like 3, a number, 2, 25. All of these are constants. They'll never change. They have values and they don't change. Okay, a numerical expression is simply it contains constants and operations. Operations being plus, minus, divided by, multiply, all of those things. If any combination of operations and constants is considered a numerical expression. Well, let's say 3 plus 6. That is a numerical expression. Algebraic expression may contain variables, constants, and operations. So 3x plus 6 is an algebraic expression. Okay? Each operation has certain words that give away that we're talking about adding or subtracting or multiplying or dividing. And here's a list of those. And these are on your success packet, so you don't have to pause and write them all down, but you should be very familiar with these words. Okay? Now, I want you to give two ways to write in each algebraic expression in words. So 9 plus r, we can say 9 added to r, or 9 more than r, or r more than 9. All of those would work. The sum's another word. 9 increased by r. So there's a lot of different ways to put this and be correct. Q minus r, we would, common thing for minus, a common word to describe minus or subtraction is the difference. So we might say the difference of Q and R, or 3 less than Q. This 7m, anytime there is a constant and a variable that follows it, that means multiplication. Okay, there's many different ways to write multiplication, and this is the most common when we're talking about multiplying a number and a variable. Okay, so 7m means 7 times m, or the product of 7 and m, or 7 groups of m. Okay, and then we have j divided by 6, or the quotient. Quotient is the most common description of a division problem. J divided by 6 could be the quotient of j and 6. Okay, so any of those would work, and you need to be able to give at least 2 ways for each algebraic expression. Now we're going to talk about changing word situations into algebraic expressions. So let's say, okay, this situation says John types 62 words per minute. Write an expression for the number of words he types in m minutes. Okay, now m represents the total number of minutes that John types. If John types m minutes and he types 62 words every time a minute goes by, then how could we represent the total number of minutes? So I would say, or the total number of words that John types. 62 times m. So 62 times m is the total number of words. So for every 1 minute, 62 words John types. Now Joey earns $5 for each car he washes, okay? So we're going to write an expression for the number of cars Joey must wash to earn D dollars. I want you to pause the video right now and see if you can write the expression for the number of cars Joey must wash to earn D dollars. Okay, now, Joey already has D dollars, okay? And if he earned $5 for every car he washed, and D is the total number of dollars, how do I figure out the total number of cars? I would divide that by 5. A fraction is another way to write division. So you could write it like this: D divided by 5, or D over 5, or you could write D divided by 5, the way we are used to writing it. Both of these are correct expressions for this word situation. Now, the last thing we want to learn how to do is evaluate an expression and find its value. So evaluate means to find a value. See that? Evaluate, the word value is in that word. So to evaluate an expression, we substitute numbers for the variables. We're replacing the variables with the numbers, and then we simplify the expression by performing the operations that are given. So we want to evaluate each expression here. Anytime we see an A, we're going to replace it with a 4. Anytime we see a B, we're going to replace it with a 7. And anytime we see a C, we're going to replace it with 2. So if I have B minus C is the expression, I'm going to do 7 minus 2. 7 minus 2. And the evaluated, this expression equals 5. Okay? AC. Remember earlier we talked about if we just write numbers or variables right next to each other like this means multiplication. So here we're going to do 4 times 2. So this is 4, and now that we have two numbers, we're going to write it in parentheses so that we know we're multiplying, and that equals 8. Because if we just write 4, 2, we're going to think that's 42. So you have to have a way to determine that's multiplication. You can do the X, you can do a dot like this. This also means multiplication. Okay, 4 times 2, that means 4 times 2. Any way is okay, but the key is that we know that this evaluated with these values equals 8. Okay? Now, I want you to pause the video and I want you to evaluate these 3 expressions. Okay, here we go. M has a value of 3. N has a value of 2. And 3 times 2 equals 6. So this is the evaluated M times N for these values. Okay? P minus N. P is 9. N is 2. So N minus 2 equals 7. And P divided by M. So we're going to do 9 divided by 3, which equals 3. So these are the values of the expressions when substituting these numbers for the variables.